Venom: The Last Dance once again hits number one at the box office on its third weekend, making $16.2 million, and probably will be the final week that Venom will be number one at the box office because competition is going to strike. With Red One hitting the U.S. hitting the U.S. this week, and then follow with Gladiator and Wicked coming out the following week, and then it's a one and two hitting the end of the month. So clearly, these big budget films are coming out this week. Red One, Wicked, Gladiator, Awana, these are going to be huge profile films. Even though the box office tracking looks like for Red One, it's not going to be a massive hit, but still, it's probably for at least for next weekend, it's going to be number one in the box office. Now, as I said, Venom 3 makes 16.2 mil, 37% drop from week 2 to week 3. So week 2 to week 3. And globally, it's it's nearly tipping to the point of hitting 400 mil. So it is now at the point of it is now $394 million. It is $6 million off from hitting 4 mil. I would be shocked that this movie makes 500 mil. I would not be shocked because, and it will be in the ballpark of because that's the same amount that Venom 2 made. So, and if you look at the international, domestic box office for the first film, because everybody's going to be pointing out that, clearly, domestically, people, they didn't, in the US, they didn't want to see another Venom film. But the Venom films never made well, did markedly well in the States anyway. They all did pretty well overseas. I mean, the second film was standing, but when it came to the first one, the first one made 200 mil in the States, while the rest of the world made 600 mil to make the 800 mil happen. So clearly, whatever the reason is, Venom, if it's just a simple thing, the character looks cool, maybe the dynamic between Venom and Eddie, and whatever the reason is. Or maybe it's just simple, hey, you're seeing monsters, you're seeing Carnage, and the second one you're seeing Carnage. This time you're seeing five, you're seeing six, symbiotes and monsters and Null and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's a thing of monsters, whatever the reason is. It's Venom attracts certain international markets, and that's the case. And it shows in these results. This movie is going to probably click around 450 to 500 mil, which is just simple. Now, the other films that came out this week are small independent films for compared to big budget films like a Venom. So two films came out. We got Havoc, or was it Havoc? Yeah, Havoc, which is the new A24 horror film starring Hugh Grant, and of course the big appeal with that film is it's meant to be here's Hugh Grant, who's normally playing the American lead, from Notting Hill and Four Ways of Funeral and the Bridget Jones movies, and he's in this film in Havoc. He's playing the bad guy. It's not like a Dungeons and Dragons type bad guy. He's playing a guy who is is so evil there's no redeeming factors type of character. He's playing the slasher. And that's meant to be the intriguing thing. Now, of course, just putting someone in a movie these days isn't going to magically have your film hit 10 mil or make 50 mil. It makes your movie have credibility. That's what it does. And makes the average Joe, fairly unfairly it does sound, for the average Joe, having a recognizable name makes it look like a real movie. But this is a film that clearly wasn't going to make, say, 50 mil. It wasn't going to do that. Even though horror is is popular, it wasn't going to make that white amount, going to make 50 mil. It's A24, it doesn't need to. It probably had a $20 million budget. Probably had a 20 mil market campaign, so 40. So it probably needs to make probably 70 mil Because if you look at like the X films that roughly probably have the same amount of money, the X films are not massive hits, and they keep making those. So they keep just making like 100 mil or 20 mil, 50 mil. So clearly for A24's count, they don't need to be like 200, like 50 million, 500 mil, or I mean they don't need to be $800 million like films to break even or something. So clearly, so this film's gonna be fine. Another one, it's a long title. Is called the best Christmas pageant ever. Now, this movie is a faith-based movie. Now, this movie cost $10 million. $10 million to make. Made 5. Once again, doesn't need to make a lot. It'll make a profit. It'll break even very quickly. But as I said, it's a faith-based movie. It wasn't going to make it wasn't going to draw a massive appeal. There is probably a level of savviness to it, and and maybe a little bit too whimsy to the point it would draw maybe even people, to draw a bigger audience as well. Like it's of that, too much heavy on the Christmas spirit, and all that. So clearly it was targeting to a certain audience, and it did that, and probably successfully it did hit that. So not a lot to say about this week's box office. But as I said, this is the last week that Venom's going to be number 1 at the box office. Because if we go for the list, we have Wed One, which is the new rock film with Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons, which I've seen because in Australia it played this weekend, except the following weekend. Last weekend versus this weekend. And this weekend Gladiator 2 is coming out. So, we're doing a little bit of that. So, but in the US, Wed One comes out this weekend. So clearly that's going to be number 1 that week. Then the following week, you got Gladiator 2 and Wicked. And that's going to be like a Barbenheimer situation going on, because apparently both of these movies are going to make money. It is tracking that both these films are going to make money. So you got that. And then the following weekend is you got Moana 2. So clearly this is the last time Venom is ever going to, this is the last time Venom's going to be dancing and saying, hey, number one. No, none of that. None of that. Yeah, you had a good 3-week one, Venom, but now you're going to, be probably number 2. You'll be a number 2 now. But anyway, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this week's box office.